Joining us in studio, he is a top producing financial advisor here in San Diego, very well known. Matt Rinkey with Illumination Wealth. Good to have you on the show.
Great to be here, Craig.
So, I don't know, I use the term top producing when I talk about realtors. I don't know if that's necessarily how you would reference a financial advisor,
Definitely
but you
not.
are one of the big names here in San Diego. You have a lot of great clients, and so it's good to have you on the show.
Yes.
Certainly talk about the market, which seems to be a little bit more stable than past times we've had you on the show.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, with all that's going on in the world, I think every time there's been something negative, it kind of gives the opportunity for these Federal Reserves across the world to perhaps print money, keep interest rates low, which the market seems to like, and they buy it up when things go down, even the littlest hiccup like a Brexit.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't it seem like with Brexit, which is a big story, there's a little bit more stability than what you might have expected? Is that because people aren't thrown off by negative news? Is it because it incentivizes the Federal Reserve to keep short-term rates low and that balances it out?
I think that's the biggest factor, is that it's not just the central bank here, it's all the banks all across the world. They're keeping rates low or might be pumping money into the system, which all the institutions, all the investors across the world seem to like. And so
everybody likes money.
Yeah,
pump more money.
Exactly.
I get my wallet out, you can pump some money in there if you want.
Yeah, it's creating more stability in terms of shorter term market movements. There's still volatility because you see everyone when that happened. I read an article how like a lot of 401ks had the most activity, so people are panicking, and the average investor is probably making some really bad decisions, like, oh, Brexit, let's sell. Meanwhile, look, 2 weeks later, the market's up 7-8%, and all these average investors just lost out by having no plan and no discipline.
Do you think that the memory of 2008 causes people still to react a little bit more aggressively than they would normally because of the Brexit story? Or, I mean, there are terrorist attacks almost every day now, and it seems like the market just shrugs them off.
Yeah, I think.
Do you remember 9/11?
Oh, yeah.
The way the market, I mean, it's
Absolutely.
just crazy. It's like these terrorist attacks are becoming common, and we're numb to it. It's kind of odd.
Yeah, I mean, there's something called recency bias, which people have, and it affects people's decision making. I think it works both ways. Some people have been so scared and scarred by 2008 that they've missed out on a lot of opportunities to get back in. But then at the same time, events of the recent past, things keep, people keep seeing every time the market goes down a little bit, it goes up, and so they think that there's not going to be a big 2008-like market crash at some point in the future, which they might be, not prepared for as well.
Well, I love talking about the market because I find it to be fascinating. To me, it's like watching sports. It's just interesting. You know, you can't control the market, you can't control the outcome of that ball game, but it's fun to talk about the stocks and the IPOs and what's Facebook doing and Twitter and they're competing and all the stuff that happens. But it's much more important, it's certainly for this show and what you do with Illumination Wealth, to give advice, right? Retirement planning advice, day-to-day advice. But one of the things I know that you have a lot of fun with is helping people travel advice, so really niching that advice. Now, so tell us about some tips there.
Well, I think most people, when you think about their money, they want it to be used to the things that they love. And I would say with my clients, people like to travel. I just hear that a lot. And, so what I've seen lately is people coming into San Diego. We've had Comic-Con. We've had the All-Star game. Yeah. And so for some people, that might be a little too crazy if they're living downtown. And so what we've had some clients do to be able to fund some significant travel plans is to rent out their home, rent out their condo, and get premium prices on those rentals.
Give me some examples of that, because I was wondering that, because I went to the All-Star game, and then I was down there for Comic-Con, and those people got to stay somewhere. So you have some clients that have actually Airbnb'd their property?
Thousands of dollars for a few nights, which then they can then parlay into taking a great vacation on their own time, or maybe they're going to go crash with a friend for those few days, and then they have a couple grand to go, spend on however they want. So they're getting their trips paid for by these unique weekends. Another client of mine lives in Palm Desert, Coachella, crazy. He has a family and kids. He doesn't want to be around there, but he's certainly happy to get 10 grand for this 2-week period of time, which he doesn't have to pay any tax on as long as he rents his place out for less than 14 days. And so there you go. So now he's got $10,000. He can have a couple amazing vacations on that type of money.
That's a fascinating piece of advice. So if you're in San Diego, which is where the show airs from, you can look at the calendar of events. There's always something going on downtown. I mean, you just named 2 big ones. Look at some upcoming events and just think, honey, want to take a little bit of trip that's fully paid for?
Yep.
How do we do that? Well, you rent the house out, you take that money, you apply it towards a destination you want to go to, and you get out of the craziness.
Yeah, and I think wealthy people, they're using all their resources. And that's one way to use some idle resource that's just sitting there. If you're going to be traveling anyways, let's rent our place out. Or other clients of ours, they swap their homes with other people. They might go to France, and they might exchange their San Diego home for people in France, and they don't need to pay for their accommodations in France while somebody is staying in their home here.
Love it. Well, that's being resourceful. So, we see people with their travel plans sometimes put more into those travel plans than they do their retirement plan. Any retirement advice? I know you're helping a lot of people on that front.
Yeah, I guess right now it's just the summer. Now's a good time to really just look and see where things are at. I think it's appropriate to is my allocation in the right place? Are there things that I need to be doing between now and the end of the year that I haven't? Where is my 401k contributions? Am I on track to max out between now and the end of the year? So the summer's a good checkpoint to really be doing that and sitting down and digging in. Yeah.
Awesome. Matt Rinkey, Illumination Wealth. He's our go-to guy for financial advice. I highly encourage you connect with him, illuminationwealth.com. Always a pleasure having you on the show, Matt.
Thanks for being here.
All right, man. All right, coming up next.